In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Vlookup function. To get us going, I just want to explain what we're looking at here. So I have a student score sheet that has a list of students in random order and their math scores, reading scores, English scores. Now on this sheet, I have students listed, I believe these are in ascending order. And then I have their grade level listed here. So imagine you're a high school that has 1,000 students and you have all of their grade levels listed on a separate sheet, and on this sheet you have all of their names in random order from the time that they tested. But you really need to have the grade level listed on this sheet. Well, this would be a good example of how we would use the Vlookup function. We would want to use a criteria on this sheet to look onto the other sheet to find that grade information. One of the first things that I like to do is I like to name my range that I'm going to be using in my function. And so on this sheet that says student grade level, I'm going to come over and I'm going to select this range, and I'm going to name this range students. So I'm going to come up here into this name box right here, click my mouse, and I'm going to name it students, and then I press enter. Now if you've never used a name range, what that means is that if I click on the name box and I choose students, it selects this area. So if I'm typing a formula and I type the word students, it's going to refer to this area. So I'm going to come back to my student scores now, and I'm in cell E2, and I want to begin the Vlookup. So to start the Vlookup, I click on the lookup and reference, and I look for Vlookup. Once the function argument dialog box opens, the very first spot here says lookup value. Well, my lookup value is going to be the student's name because they're spelled the same on both sheets. So the lookup value is an easy one for me. The table array is the location that I need the computer to look for, the student's name and the grade information. So I'm going to type in students. Now this spot right here, column index number, this is looking for how many columns over do we need to look to find the information. So if you remember, the first column had the student name and the second column had the student's grade level. So I'm going to put the number 2 because I want it to look in column 2 and return that value to me. Now I'm going to click OK, and it tells me that Yvonne Wilcox is in the 9th grade. So let me look on over there, and sure enough, Yvonne Wilcox is in the 9th grade. Now if I go back to the sheet and I autofill this down, it's going to pick up the relative reference. So it's going to look at John Johnson, okay, and then it's going to look over on the student sheet, or the student section on the other sheet, and it's going to look in the second column and return John Johnson's grade level. So it says that he's a 10th grade student. Let's look. John Johnson is a 10th grade student. So you can see that the function is working correctly. Now, in a situation like this where there's not very many students, we would easily be able to go back and forth and fill in that information. But as I said, if you had 1,000 students, this would be a very helpful tool. So that is VLOOK and a little bit of naming ranges, and that's it for now.